Howdy, friends. Why Romanian, Kylie? Interesting. Hello? Wouldn't that, it seems like it would be kind of Russian, but at least spelled that way. Anyway, evening all. So there's a funny thing about last night's stream. So if we remember that there was a concern that I would get a copyright strike because of the licensed music during the credits roll for the credits for Mass Effect. Funny enough, I did in fact get a copyright claim, not a strike. My channel apparently just doesn't get strikes, which is nice. I got a copyright claim. Which again, I don't care. I don't monetize my videos anyway. So if somebody wants to claim my non-existent revenue, have at it. But no, it actually was not. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It was not the actual music from the credits. I don't know if it's because the copyright holder isn't as hardcore about it, or because I was talking too loud over it or something. But no, it was actually the music from the trailer I played at the end in the last minute and a half of the stream was claimed by not the copyright holder, not EA, not the copyright holder for the actual ad or the actual the thing that was claimed, but the copyright holder of the music that presumably that trailer had licensed for that trailer. So neat. Are we getting some buffering problems? I'm seeing some issues on my feed of the stream. If it becomes a problem, let me know. Yeah, Kylie says, oh my gosh, they're being real nitpicky then. Yeah, absolutely. They really are. I think a large part of it is just because I just played it and it wasn't altered or changed at all. I didn't talk over it. I didn't do anything else like that. Whereas with other stuff, other times there's licensed music, but I'm talking over it and it's over gameplay or anything like that. And it's not as obvious. It's more obviously transformative, maybe you can say. The world is happening. Huh. I guess the music cut out. That means it's time to get into the game. Anyway, so that's my little foray into the world of YouTube and its weird copy strike system. I did post a video last week, just not having anything at all to do with not having anything to do at all with the rest of my channel, more having to do with my own weird little niche interests. Which was the Captain America one, having to do with Avengers Infinity War, with the leitmotif. I basically just edited in pretty haphazardly. Kylie asked, do I hear YouTube famous in the future? Probably not. Huh. Sounds like it's raining, but I'm not sure if that's in my headphones or in real life. I think it's my headphones, which is strange. Anyway, whatever. But no, I'm. If I wind up with 4 or 5 digit subscribers, I will be shocked. Oh, you forgot to watch Endgame today again. Well, I mean, there's always the option of like live watching it like with other people through Zoom or that sort of thing, like basically do a watch party but with Disney Plus or something. I mean, I don't know if I would try and screen capture it to share via Zoom. That might get you in hot water, but who's gonna know? Speaking of copyright, anyway, just a thought. I honestly don't even know if that would work, but hey, it might be worth a try. Especially if you have a second monitor, might be worth doing. Anyway, it is phenomenal. But no, I was talking about Infinity War, and this is one of the recent videos on my channel that, like I said, I haphazardly threw Captain America's leitmotif from the first Avenger over the scene where he shows up in the subway station, or the train station, instead of the Avengers theme, which I think is much, much more fitting for the character, and it's just so much more impactful, and it's really disappointing the lack of proper use of leitmotifs in a lot of the MCU up till that point. Now I say up till that point because holy crap, Endgame did it right. And if you're into like cinematic scores and music and that sort of thing, pay attention to the use of character leitmotifs in Endgame, because they do a spectacular job of it. Ant-Man's theme is all over the place. Captain America's theme is all over the place. Black Panther's theme shows up near the end. Thor's two different themes for Thor show up. One from his first movie, and then another one from his second movie, from the one no one remembers. What else? There's a couple of different Iron Man themes that show up here and there, though that's been a bit of a problem because his theming has been wildly inconsistent in everything he's been in. So yeah, you know. But yeah, it was a vast improvement over what has come before, at least in terms of character music theming. I can't speak highly enough of that element, if nothing else. Now, there's also obviously a lot of other things to speak highly of about the movie. Hi, Kevin. You saw there. It being a tremendous emotional climax to the 10-year-long Marvel Cinematic Universe journey, yeah, that's one. It being an absolutely absurd time travel movie that has the same approach as Austin Powers, yeah, that too. Which is basically wave your hands around and say, don't worry about how the time travel works. Just have a good time, Just the characters don't understand it either. You don't need to. Just kind of go with it. It reminds me of, like I said, the scene from one of the Austin Powers movies where Basil Exposition is telling Austin Powers, like, it's best if you not think about those things and just enjoy the ride. And then he turns and looks directly at the camera and says, that goes for you all too. That's basically the moment from Endgame, if you know the one I'm talking about, with, I think it's with Hulk. I guess Banner or Hulk, whichever. It's amazing. It's really well done, and they don't try super hard to explain the time travel mechanics. And a lot of the criticisms I've seen of the movie basically center around the time travel mechanics not making sense. And I'm just here like, well, no, they won't make sense, because if time travel is even theoretically possible, we don't understand how it's possible. So anything anyone comes up with is going to be in violation of everything we know about the laws of physics and a lot of what we know about the laws of logic. So just shut up and enjoy the ride. If you're going to do a time travel plot, it's going to be out there. Necessarily, it's going to be out there. So just kind of go with it, All right. So we left off last time burning down tobacco fields. That was a lot of fun. That was that moment of everything was about to go horribly wrong very, very soon. Hey, we're wearing a mask. This is, let's take it off. Oops. Now, I never really intended for this, but just given the theming and given the things that I wind up talking about in Red Dead, this is almost becoming a Coof stream. Basically just me ranting about the Coof and everything having to do with it pretty persistently throughout our Red Dead streams so far. So what is this? What is that supposed to be? Let's go find out. We're going to start with whatever that is. Might be a side quest. It might be something else entirely. I have no idea. I know there's something down there, but I just don't know why there's a thing on the map for it. Oh, coof is the YouTube friendly name of the disease that we're not supposed to talk about. You know, I could just start referring to it as tuberculosis, because it's very, very thematically appropriate for Red Dead Redemption. So, yeah, I can totally just talk about tuberculosis. That can work. Because, you know, the first thing I notice upon starting up the game is, oh, hey, I'm still wearing a mask. Yeah. Oh, I need to clean this.
Scratching the gravel today.
It's a misspelling of cough, but it's used as a kind of euphemism around YouTube. So that people will not be, so that algorithms won't catch you. Basically, that's kind of the idea. Anyway, let's head that way, and on the way, maybe we will feed our horse. Maybe we will no. Yeah, some of that. Oh, sorry, Peppermint. Feed the horse. Maybe we'll go do a little hunting on the way over there. Because I want to know what exactly that is showing on my map. That's an old abandoned fort, but I don't know why it has an icon. What's this? A camp up there?
What the hell? Who's there? Turn around.
Oh, okay. Lemoyne Raiders.
Lemoyne Raider Command. No war stories for you fellers.
Well, we're done. That was quick. Kevin says, I haven't heard much about tuberculosis since I deleted Facebook. Thanks, Doc. Yeah, I think that might be the wisest decision, really, at this point. Got called a domestic terrorist the other day. That's always fun. Yeah, at this point, honestly, my I have never before this year. I mentioned this somewhere on Facebook as well. That before this year, I have. What in the world? There's more of them. Well, okay.
There he is! Blast that son of a bitch!
Before this year, I have. Oops. I have never blocked anyone who I knew in real life, but that was before this year when people I know in real life started calling me a terrorist for mostly political views. And these are also the kinds of folks who I genuinely suspect might be prone to, like, calling some manner of police for thinking that I have the wrong political views. Those kinds of people. Oh, wait, an apple. I need an apple. Where was it? Apples. Basically, it was a friend and colleague in academia who essentially I don't hate the current president for precisely the right reasons, and so that means that I qualify as a domestic terrorist. So basically, that's why I've begun occasionally actually blocking people I really know, like in real life, because again, I don't feel like associating with people who literally think I am a terrorist. But then worse than that, I genuinely consider it to be a somewhat of a danger to myself, right? Because, you know, associating with the sorts of people who think that they're more likely than a lot of other people to take drastic action, whether that is, you know, whether that's direct or indirect. Oh wait, I don't want to pick up the dead guy. Oh, got blood on my shirt. Oh, that's disappointing. Alright, it's fine. Wait, I just used gun oil. Huh. I guess I gotta clean another gun. Maybe I don't. Well, I might as well. Yeah, Kylie says that's rude of them. There's no reason to call someone a terrorist. Yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, unless they're, actively committing acts of terrorism, I guess. But my point is, for some people, not wearing a mask whenever you leave the house is enough to consider an act of terrorism. Which is why I recently had to block somebody, because that's the kind of world we live in today. But things happen. Old friend from college, in fact. Disappointing, really. But things are the way they are, unfortunately. Anyway, things happen. There is a tendency not just to. Oh, I want to reload my gun. There. There's a tendency not only to be a moral busybody, but to be quite. I would even go so far as to say violent about it.
Time to go, boy.
Hey, Gamer. How you doing? Yeah. But yeah, that's the kind of thing that I am unfortunately getting used to in the current year.
So up now.
Hold on, trying to change my clothes. Oop, not that one. There we go. And let's get that turkey. So Kylie says, but y'all are in a rural area, so you don't have to worry that much about that. A lot of people have to be rude about these things. Yeah, because, again, I ranted about this a lot last week, and since, and all the time, in fact. This kind of is becoming a stream about it to some degree. But I think a large part of it is because that culturally, people who are more culturally urban simply... they don't know what they don't know, right? So there's the sort of default assumption that unless you have reason to think otherwise, that every situation is just like your situation. And when their situation is one in which, wearing a mask when you go out is a decent thing to do because there is a real chance of transmitting tuberculosis or the equivalent, they think that situation applies everywhere. And talk of there being a pandemic, an outbreak, it's conducive to that method, that way of thinking, primarily because it's not an outbreak, it's a series of lots and lots of little outbreaks across lots and lots of little communities. Just like this country is lots and lots of little communities. It's another thing. And that's really, I think, key to understanding the misunderstanding of people who want to.
You okay, boy? Stay right there and
No.
don't move. We're falling too far behind, damn it.
There. That was easy. Let's take all their stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I do think that that it's largely a factor of not willing to consider that that other people have different solutions to different problems. Right? Once you have come to a resolution, right, you want to think you've solved a universal problem, even if the problem is far from universal. This is also there's actually a lot of tendencies at work here as well. One of which is the absolute love that people have for feeling superior to other people. Right? Everyone wants to think that they are morally superior to the person next to them. Everybody. It is like our favorite thing to do as human beings is to be better than other human beings. And, whether we actually are better than other human beings or not, we want to feel better. And I think I don't know if I've mentioned this on stream before, but I've talked about this before online in various settings. And as well as in person in various settings. One of the universities I teach at from time to time recently went completely tobacco-free. And by tobacco-free, I mean more than simply smoking. It is 100% tobacco-free. There's no tobacco products permitted on campus. There's no smoking at anywhere on campus. Also, that includes vaping. There's no vaping anywhere on campus. Now, I'm not a fan of vaping. I think it's rather silly and quite uncivilized, but that's... I openly admit that is a preference rather than strictly speaking a value statement. I don't like it. It's not something that I think is wrong. Now, since this started, right? Since there has been this change towards... Uh-oh, somebody's dying. Oh no, not this guy again.
Oh, Christ! Please help me!
Hey, what's with the holler?
Y'all gotta help me, please! Oh!
A snake bite? Okay, can I help? Sir?
I got bit.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Thought I heard a snake.
I need medicine.
Here,
Or a
drink
siphon.
By the way, the other option is to suck the venom out of his leg, which does, I think, also work. So, by the way, don't do that. It doesn't actually work in real life. No, he's bit by a snake. He's not drunk. Well, he might also be drunk, but
I owe you.
that's not why he's dying.
I do. Now I gotta get out of here.
Alright. So that's not the usual snake bite dude. That's not the guy I've seen be bitten by 3 different snakes in this game. But I guess it's a common enough problem.
Yep.
Oh hey, this is Granger's Pig Farm. We shot him. All right, well, let's keep going. Right, so there's this new-ish, it's not new anymore, but this newish tobacco-free policy on campus. Nowhere on campus permits smoking of any kind, including vaping. Kevin, the point is not to get the sweet people juice, whatever hellish concoction that might mean. The point is to get the snake juice, and then spit it out, not the people juice. So if you get the people juice, then you're not doing it right, apparently. God, why am I saying these words? Look what you people make me do. And it's an embarrassment. Anyway, moving right along. I've had the experience several times on this campus since the ban has been active. The ban on all tobacco products. Now, I will say the reason for it is mostly aesthetic. It's aesthetic and reputational. There is a significant and oh, there's something up here I need to go to. What is it? There's something to say for the reputation of our school as being a top-notch medical program. right? So naturally, they don't want to be known for smoking, right? They don't want people smoking around campus.
I just don't understand this at all. Hey, over here!
What's the problem?
Problem? No, there's no problem. Quite the contrary. Well, there is a problem. For me, but not for you.
All right. I ain't got time for
No, wait! Give me a minute of your life. I might just change it forever. I'm sure you will have heard of me. Maximo Cristobal Valdespino, the renowned explorer.
Can't say I have.
There has been much written about me. I once had high tea with the Viceroy of India. I helped liberate South America. I've climbed mountains and swum across seas. I have had many women. I've spent the last 3 months hunting treasure on the American frontier. Beautiful country. Reminds me a lot of Almeria. But tomorrow I set sail for the island of Shikoku in the Japanese archipelago in search of the legendary Tokushima Sapphire.
Well, good for you.
No, hold on. You see this map here? It was made by the Jackhole Gang. They rob banks all the way from here to California.
Yeah, I know who the Jack Hall gang are.
Oh, them you have heard of, but me? Huh. Well, rumor has it they buried gold somewhere in this area, but were killed before they could retrieve it. They created 2 maps to ensure it was well hidden. This is the first and should lead you to the second. You just need to follow the landmarks drawn here.
Yes, Kevin, I absolutely love the guitarist drum. And yes, he does have a Spanish Inigo Montoya accent.
But I am prepared to sell it to you for the low price of $10. A trifling investment for a man such as you, given the potential returns.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
What the hell?
I have $3,000. I can afford it.
Investment. I wish you the best of luck.
Okay, I don't know if we're ever actually going to do this one, because the treasure hunts in this game are a huge pain. That is what, Valentine? God, I will, maybe we'll do this eventually. Maybe we'll just do a stream of me being really frustrated about hunting for treasure. That could be fun, right? Is that fun? I don't know if that's fun.
Yep.
I've almost never... What? Something over here now. Well, okay then. Let's do that while we're here. I've never had much luck actually hunting for treasure in this game. Is it going to send me off a cliff? That stupid map is going to send me off a cliff. How dare you?
Yep.
Anyway. I was going to say I will not say suspicious, but I'm apparently very easy to convince about these things. But yeah. Anyway, so yeah, he's. I actually don't know what's all about this. It might be a good time to watch me get frustrated about trying to find treasures. It also might be fun to see me get frustrated enough to just look it up and cheat, but I'll try not to do that if you guys don't want me to. If we do wind up doing a stream entirely dedicated to that. I don't want to hit the horse. Don't want to hit the dog.
Yeah, do you smoke, sir?
Oh, it's this guy.
Sure, but perhaps not as much
Oh,
as
speaking
you.
of tobacco.
Oh, no, don't worry about these. Actually, take some. Take a couple of packs. Take a few.
Oh, thank you. What are all the cigarettes for? Are you heading on a long journey or something?
No, nothing like that at all. I'm just interested in the cards.
Okay.
The cigarette cards. Oh, you got any?
Yeah?
Well, get them out. Let me take a look. Come on.
A little picture card?
Yeah, I'll pay you a good price.
Okay. Here.
Nothing I haven't got. The value is in completing the set. Sometimes I'll smoke up to 200 cigarettes in one day, just so I can keep opening the packs. I wish I could explain to you the pleasure and the pain I get out of collecting these babies.
Sure. It sounds,
Thrilling? Yeah, it is. Not to mention the vast amounts of life-reaffirming cigarettes I get to smoke. Oh, and the amount of money? A veritable fortune, sir.
fortune.
Oh, sure. A completion of any series is worth a fortune. Yeah, look at this. Gunslingers. Over here, circus freaks. Yes. Meow meows of the desert. So rare.
Meow meows of the desert.
Sure.
How much?
Well, it depends on the rarity, sir.
Of course.
Yeah. But, you know, if you ever get a complete set, I can take it off your hands.
You'd pay me.
A fair price. Now, you send them to me right here. Phineas T. Ramsbottom, at your service. Okay, I gotta run. This is my train. Look me up, okay? Think about this deal. Only a complete set. That's where the value lies.
Okay. So speaking of smoking up to upwards of 200 cigarettes per day. Okay. Speaking up to upwards of 200 cigarettes per day, first of all, don't do that. Like, really, do not do that. As if I need to tell anyone not to do that. I think in current year, that's, hopefully obvious. Just in case it's not, let me reiterate. Do not smoke 200 cigarettes per day. Okay, anyway. That said, the other end, the absolute abstinence end of any kind of, oh my gosh, Kevin says it reminds me of Sean Hannity, and I absolutely see the resemblance, 100%. In face, in voice, maybe in attitude. Oh my god, more of them! Alright, let's do this.
And I shoot you dead. I'll bury you. God damn it.
And one more. O'Driscoll's, huh? Yeah, no, let's not deal with them. But yes, pause for effect after reminding my gentle viewers not to smoke 200 cigarettes per day. And again, please do not smoke 200 cigarettes per day. That said, like I was saying, there is an opposite response. Just like any vice, there is an opposite vice. Just like there is a vice of excess, there is a vice of deficiency. Which is not to say that one necessarily ought to, smoke tobacco. But pure abstention because one thinks it is the right thing to do and not for specific health reasons and not for just lack of a desire to actually smoke or whatever, right? Pure abstention for its own sake, like considering that as a virtue in itself, is just as wrong, right? Especially when it comes to the point of taking it to not just abstaining, but condemning those who do partake. Kevin, you're thinking of O'Doyle's rule. Different gang. Eat some beef. But yeah, so there is a vice of deficiency associated even with something like smoking. Right? Smoking is not per se a vice. Smoking to excess is a vice, but that's just gluttony. And yes, it did. I assume that was the reference you were making. And if so, I did get it. Oh, another guy. Oh, look, panning for gold. Wonder if I can...
You ain't looking for gold here, is you? Because, I called it.
Okay.
All right, I'll leave you to it.
All right, never mind.
Hey, boy.
But it's a matter of dealing with, for lack of a better term, Karens. Moral busybodies, people who will take any excuse to think themselves to be better than you, and when there is a fairly arbitrary and broad scale ruling like no tobacco of any sort on campus whatsoever under any circumstances in any place, well, it gives people an opportunity to become their own little petty enforcers. Cases in point. This has happened to me, I think, 3 times at least? Might have been 4. It was at least 3 times. Where I will be smoking outside away from people. One time with a cigar, usually with a pipe. because I do that on occasion, and I make it a point too when I'm on that campus, just to make the point. And I've had people, at least 3 times, I think it might have been 4 times, but I'm not sure. It was at least 3 times. People have left their office, their climate-controlled, smoke-free office, come outside into the cloud that I was exhaling, only to inform me that this is a smoke-free campus, and that I should not be smoking here. Because, and here's the fun part, I might be bothering someone. Because, secondhand smoke, or the smell, or something. All of which, they voluntarily came out of their, again, climate-controlled offices in order to harass me about. Yes, pipe smoking is, I think, very Shire-esque. It's also very professorial. I think it fits my chosen profession quite well. Yeah, so this is where I'm supposed to be. Oh, this is where the marker was. I wonder if there's anything of interest here. I mean, I know there's things to see, but let's have a look around. So this is essentially people's opportunity to go outside of their comfort zone, to intentionally inconvenience themselves, simply as a way to tell me to stop inconveniencing other people who are not in fact inconvenienced. This is very similar to being offended on someone else's behalf, which, let's be realistic, is quite silly and a key means of bothering people who are not bothering anyone. An oil can. I don't need revolver cartridges, apparently. No. Speaking of cigarettes. But in any case, I think this is right, the point is that people are very, very ready to go out of their way to tell you that they are better than you, and to tell you to start obeying the rules that they themselves are obeying, even though they had no inclination to break them from the start. Right? These are not smokers who have chafed under these rules and so gone after me to say, oh, well, I'm obeying the rule, why shouldn't you, or anything like that, right? Because every smoker I know on campus just smokes usually in their car, which is, not ideal. Anyway, Kylie says, I think people in the office are the most professional-looking people I've ever seen, and it's awesome. I assume you're talking about the office about the office we're both at St. Leo. Yeah, generally I think so. Although, I mean, professional in the academic sense. There are more businessy kinds of professional attire than the kind that those of us in the office typically will wear. What's that? I tripped over something. All right, well, there was nothing really of interest here, so this was quite the trek for. Well, I guess we picked up a couple of quests, so that's fine. All right, let's head all the way back to Micah. It's always Micah, isn't it? It's gotta be Micah. Yes. Oh, yeah. Clam bake in your car with the. Yeah. Don't. Yeah. It's another thing that's just not a fun thing to do. Like, I don't smoke in the car. I don't even smoke in the house. Partially so I don't make the house smell like smoke, but also, at least for the car, because that's kind of gross. I'll be honest. But yeah, no, it's the big point here, the main takeaway from this, and why I bring this up, is that people are very prone to bothering you if they think they can tell you to do something. Because there's a rule in place and they want to enforce it, not because they really think the rule is worth enforcing, right? It's not like anyone who has confronted me on campus has done so out of concern for anyone's health, because I was nowhere near anyone while smoking, and certainly not anywhere near them to be bothered by it. It's simply a case of I was doing what they are. I was doing something that was prohibited, and it was an opportunity for them to feel better than me, right? To take on this the role of the enforcer, if you will. If you want to be really upfront about it, it's a kind of power trip. It's when you have the ability to put yourself above somebody else, socially speaking. Well, you're going to want to. It's a very appealing thing to do. I'm just going to go around the back of this train. I don't feel like waiting. Could probably go over it. No, I don't want to take my horse through that.
Hello.
Anyway, let's keep moving. I think honestly, the same thing is quite common when it comes to mask enforcement. Not necessarily mask wearing, because I think a lot of people have genuine concerns, right? At least for themselves, right? There are reasons to wear a mask, and if you have any reason to suspect that you might be infected, especially if you think you might be contagious, and you're going to be near lots of people, yeah, I mean, it's not a bad idea to put a mask over your face so you don't, spit on people while you're talking, that kind of thing, because it's bodily fluid transmission, just like we saw with Arthur getting tuberculosis, right? But at the same time, it's clearly not that kind of concern when it is a matter of you telling somebody else who is, in a lot of cases, like an ocean away, where I've had people, chastising me for saying that in my circumstance I won't wear a mask under normal circumstances, that I think it's unnecessary. I've had people chastising me about this from England. Kevin says, back in my drinking days, me and... let me cinematic, this is a long one. Back in my drinking days, me and my buddy went bowling. Bowling. We got to the alley and sat in the station wagon and baked a bit. Nearly lit my mustache on fire. By the time we got inside, we looked near death. I assume you were baking with non-tobacco cigarettes, so to speak. Because that's what one does when going bowling, if I've learned anything from The Big Lebowski. It's not my thing, obviously. I'm the squarest of the squares, but regardless. Yeah, I have also almost lit my mustache on fire, but that was with a cigar. That was fun. Gotten the little, slightly singed couple of mustache hairs. That was one time. I learned how to do it properly after that, and how to avoid that. But yeah, that's always fun. Yeah, and likewise, I'm not a fan of smoking in a car. I mean, I guess I would understand from what I understand of tobacco smoking, which is precious little. I guess the secondhand effect of it, the contact high. I sound like, oh my god, I'm so old. I sound older than a boomer at this point, because boomers did tobacco when they were kids. Did tobacco, holy shit. I'm just digging the hole deeper at this point. Oh, you were baking with tobacco, like lame people. Got it, no problem. I can respect that. But yeah, I guess the close contact of marijuana that increases the high or something. I don't know. I have no idea. Anyway. But yeah, I do think, like I was saying, I think the key part of what I was saying, though, is that rules like tobacco-free campus it's exactly the same thing as a rule like requiring masks. It is an opportunity for some people to feel better than other people by telling them to follow the rule. Right? It's a kind of power trip, and it's a specific kind of power trip. Which involves a kind of moral busybody, right? A kind of placing yourself in a position where you feel better. You feel as if you are better than the person you are criticizing, right? And there's something, I think, deeply morally unhealthy about that. And take a sip of water. Because I think what you're doing there is you're substituting your being better than somebody in a very superficial kind of way, in a way that requires no moral effort, and in fact requires a kind of disdain for another person. Wait.
You Lemoyne Raiders.
Oh, neat.
Ain't you, boy? We can make it.
Let's take care of this problem.
Damn it all. Guess they got what was coming to them. Jesus.
All right. How about that horse? Dakota. Ooh.
Easy. You're okay.
Do I want this horse? Kind of want this horse.
You okay?
I mean, all else fails, the horse fence is right here, so I could just go sell it to the horse fence. All right, what do y'all think? Should I replace one of my current horses with this new one? This could be the new Marshmallow.
That's it.
All right, I've bound with the horse just a little bit. Let's search the dead people. This could be totally the new Marshmallow. She, I think it's a she. She's got nice mane there too. Pretty. Yeah. So I might do that. If I can find where there's a stable around here, it's kind of far. And it's all the way up here. I've got 4 horses. Who would I get rid of? Arthur 2, I guess? Nah, I think I'm just going to sell this one. Until I find a... Because there is another, like, plot-important horse later on.
Yep, here.
So I'm going to sell this one right over here. Right? It's right here, yeah? Yeah, it's right here. I'll keep an eye out for a nice new horse. Well, when I'm near the stable. $5. All
Gotta
right.
play for little Dakota for me, huh? Good.
That was creepy.
Careful, Clive. That's our profits now.
All right. Go for another one later. Actually get a horse later. There is, like I said, there's a plot-important horse later on. By the name of Buell. It's quite a while. It's quite a ways down the road, though. So we'll see. We'll see. I'll keep thinking about it. In any case, I do think that this is a there's quite this tendency to take it into one's own hands to enforce these arbitrary rules in a way that makes one feel superior, right? And I think mask wearing it becomes that for a lot of people. It's an opportunity to do that sort of thing for a lot of people, where otherwise it's clearly. You know, it's clearly not. It's so far beyond their immediate business. Like my wearing a mask or not, hundreds of miles away from them is not like. their concern, and they don't know my particular situation, yada yada yada, all the stuff I've talked about a million times here. Similarly to how, me smoking a pipe outside is so far removed from anybody's particular circumstance, inside their office and well away from anybody who could possibly be bothered by it. Right? That's no dominoes, nothing at the moment. I think that it's roughly the same kind of thing, and it's a fascinating phenomenon. Really, it's a terrifying phenomenon that this kind of thing can really take over, but it's fascinating nonetheless. All right, let's see what Mike is up to, and I think we're about to ruin everything. Oh, wait, hold on, no, there's a robbery over here. Somebody wants to go on a robbery. Who is it, Bill? What's he want to rob? Stagecoach? Yeah, let's go rob a stagecoach.
What are you doing?
Let's do that first.
Prepping for a robbery.
Anything to not go with
Okay.
Robbed a house up Roanoke Ridge. Robbed
Micah.
a couple of drunken soldiers out near the swamps.
And what are you about to do?
A stage.
Well, good luck.
Well, do you want to come with me? Now, I was going to ask Sean, but he's too much of a hothead.
What's the opportunity?
A bank stage, and without much security. This feller was telling me about it a couple of nights ago when we was drinking. It's gonna be coming right through, and the bank reckons the cost of security ain't worth the risk. Now, there'll be a couple guys, but nothing too serious, and lots of money. Easy money.
Well, that's always the dream of every thief. Easy money.
Well, like I was saying, my luck is in now, Arthur.
Well, then, why not? Who you taking?
I think we need a girl. See, I got a plan in mind.
Well, in that case, Tilly, you free? We got some work.
All right, let's go for it.
What kind of work?
Stagecoach.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
All right, come on. Let's mount up. Okay, follow me. There's a good spot where we should be able to cut it off northwest of Dewberry Creek.
And you're certain this information's sound, Bill? After that mess with the Cornwall stage, I want to make sure we're not riding into another army of guards.
Yes, I'm certain.
So what's the plan?
I was thinking a little womanly distraction.
I figured that much. But what's the story? Route, number of guards, important detail?
Just do exactly what I say and you'll be fine, all right?
How about we do exactly what Tilly says? I'd feel a lot safer.
Because I've done all the groundwork on this. Next time she brings in a lead of her own, we'll all bow down, I promise.
I'll
Tilly
remember
really
you
is a
said
professional.
that.
You follow orders, you stay alive. That's what they used to tell me in the army.
They kicked you out of the army.
They did not.
I beg to differ, Marion.
Have you been going through my things?
You shouldn't have left it out.
Can you believe this, Morgan? I don't trust her any more than I trust that Kieran boy. I never have. Running with them Foreman boys all them years. She can turn on us any minute.
Just shut your mouth or I'll shut it for you. You have no damn clue.
All right, just take it easy, you two. Get your minds on what matters so we do this right.
Yeah, I really do like Tilly.
Let's cut up through the creek.
I'm thinking it's right around here, though it might be the next camp. So after a little bit, where that past that Tilly was talking about comes back, and we've got to go deal with some of those problems with the Foreman boys. A few times actually. That comes back a couple of times. While even much later, like 7 years later, if I recall. Might be 8 years. I don't know.
You know, this was the spot we first picked out for a camp.
A dry riverbed?
Yep,
Who the hell suggested that?
Micah, I believe.
Well, that don't surprise me.
So while we're riding, appropriately enough, I made some more beef jerky, as I'm wont to do. A big fan of that sort of thing, and tried an interesting cut of beef for it. It was incredibly marbled, way more than I usually would use for beef jerky. Usually I use a pretty lean, like eye round or maybe a rump roast, that sort of thing. This is a roast. I think it's a chuck roast, so there's a lot more marbled pieces in it. Way more than I'm used to.
So the stage should be coming from over there.
What you want me
It's
to do?
the most interesting texture. It's real different.
Get the thing started.
Very good.
You
Very
know,
good.
like you do.
And
So if you do make beef jerky, if that is the thing you do,
Come on, don't get all precious.
if you don't, I recommend to get a food dehydrator. It's totally worth doing. But if you do, try different cuts of meat. Worth doing. It's worth at least trying once in a while, you know?
Half man? Half man. What does that even mean?
Do you two stop arguing?
He started it.
Here's a goddamn stagecoach. We doing this?
Yes. Come on, both of you, follow me.
What's the plan?
There's been a change of plan.
Yes, you act dumb and get them to stop.
Or are we just, like... What are we doing? Are we just gonna go shoot him? Okay, well... Okay, well, this is dumb. Oh, Bill. Okay, well, here we go. Ow. Ooh. Really quit me. Okay, well, let's go. Yeah, this is definitely a sign of things to come, of things going horribly and almost hilariously wrong. Are you kidding me? This is not working. Okay, we're slowing down. What's that over there? Okay, neat. Get going, Bill.
Damn, it's locked. I'm gonna blow it open. Stand back.
Can't I just... Shouldn't I cut the horses free first? Nope. Oh, 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 uh-oh. Because I blew up a couple of horses. Listen, I tried to cut them free, but... Okay. Where the hell's Bill and Tilly, anyway?
Right. Let's split up, get the hell out of here.
Okay, that's a roof.
I know, go on.
I think they're supposed to be here. It's just that they're idiots.
Yeah.
Yeah, not just the stream. Erica says that the explosion was so massive the stream couldn't handle it. Couldn't handle showing it. Yes, but my computer also took a minute. Oh.
It's all right, boy.
Okay. Rattlesnake or something. Yeah, well, I'm out here in the middle of the opposite of where I need to be. Yes, Kylie also points out that the stream was protesting of blowing up horses. Yeah, so was Arthur's honor.
Yeah, you all right there, boy?
So yeah, that too. Yeah, I do agree that that was
Okay there?
that was unfortunate. I tried to prevent that, but it apparently didn't want me. It didn't want me cutting them free first. All right, so first of all, take the mask off. We don't need that at the moment. Second of all, let's go back. Now, let's go back to Micah and ruin everyone's good time. Except ours, like the players and you guys watching, because watching Micah cause all manner of trouble is always fun, if irritating, certainly enjoyable. So, won't ruin our good time. Maybe I'm not supposed to be going this way, but whatever. It's working, I think. Yeah, okay, yeah. Recalculating. Is the perfect freeze for a Sam Elliott narration. Yeah, I'm just picturing a record scratch as the explosion. Yep, that's me. Oh, that's unfortunate. Let's go and what in the world?
I ain't never touched her. It's a damn lie.
Stay back. This here's official business.
Oh, well, okay.
Jesus, anyone, help!
This here's got nothing to do with you, and I won't warn you again. Y'all bounty hunters? Stop or we fire. Hey, I reckon I'll be taking that bounty.
Let's do this before
Bastard!
damn it.
How dumb are you? Now stay there.
Bad day for you.
Let's hog tie him. Then the other guy. Where's the other guy?
God damn! You're only making this worse on yourself.
Not really. I think everything's fine.
Enjoy the peace. Better shouldn't have messed with us. You're one damn son of a bitch. I'll start running if I was you. I'll enjoy watching you die, pal.
No, you really won't.
What on earth?
Okay.
Will you get me off this horse?
I'll slit your throat for this.
Nah, I doubt it.
You bastard fool. Very
Ooh.
kind of you.
Oh, look at that.
I can't take this horse much longer.
Good news. Eric has informed me that,
I'm going crazy on this horse. Get me off.
let's see, I wonder if he's actually innocent. Yeah, alright, let's just free him.
It's getting hard to breathe in these ropes here.
Alright. But yeah, Erica's here to inform me that my,
I know it.
if you steal my horse, I will shoot you. No, I'm not.
Move! Damn you to hell.
Yeah, I know. It's okay.
So, what do you got for me?
Yeah, just go and steal their horse. Be on your way, mister. Should I
Bastard.
turn you in? Or, I don't know. Yeah, so Erica's informed me that I assume the Facebook donation fundraiser thing has raised $32, which is enough to buy the the DLC package for Mass Effect 2, I am pleased to say. So we will be starting Mass Effect 2 with all of the DLC installed by then. So that is fantastic. That is great to hear. So thank you, thank everybody who was able to donate money for that. I really, really appreciate that. That's fantastic. Like I said, the extra $2 is probably, like I said, going to go towards some other... It's going to help offset the cost of something else I wind up buying for the stream. I may, if possible, also get the Omega DLC for Mass Effect 3 once we eventually get to it, so that's an option. Or just additional other games, possibly other things for setup, like actually helping my actual streaming setup. Things like that. I don't want to have that kind of. I don't want to have these kinds of donations just go into my pocket. I do want it to go back into me doing this kind of thing, because it is for it's for you guys as much as it's for me. I enjoy this, and I know you guys enjoy it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. So, thanks for your support. Thanks for being here. Kylie says, "Can I still donate tomorrow for future things for games?" Yeah, absolutely. I will. I will still accept. I'll still accept donations above the $30, and I will still put it towards either other games or, like I said, helping my setup. A couple of things I am looking into doing. Looking into getting, just so you guys are aware of this, things in the future would be a green screen backdrop and a. I'm still in talks about getting a webcam to actually use for class stuff, and I would also be using it for lecture recording, and I haven't decided whether I will actually want to do a camera while streaming. Probably not. It's far less convenient, honestly. Unless you guys really want to watch my face while I'm gaming, I guess I'll consider it, but it would more be for pre-recorded stuff, like my lecture videos and that sort of thing. In addition, hardware-wise, the only other hardware upgrade I would be looking for really would be I would want to install an Ethernet port in my office, which I don't know. I'd have to talk to Spectrum, my cable provider, and see if they see what that would be to install it, and see if they could do it, maybe even for free. Probably not, but who knows? We'll find out. We'll find out eventually. I will probably get around to that at some point in the future. So those are kind of things that Kevin asked if I would want to frighten people like that. And I assume you mean by showing my face on camera like I do in 90% of the things on my channel. You're aware of that, right? Like, you've seen the rest of my channel where I show my face all the time. It's not that scary, I don't think, is it? I don't know. Maybe it is. I'll sleep till noon. Sounds good. Anyway, but yeah, like I said, I am in talks with IT about getting a webcam for actual academic use, and it would double for this sort of thing as well. If only, like I said, if only pre-recorded lectures and that sort of thing. And like I said, it is an extra inconvenience, if nothing else, to record on camera.
You might want to wash that blood off, Mr. Morgan.
Oh. Yeah. Nah. Ooh, is that another stagecoach job? Let's do it, because I think this next job with Micah is, first of all, awful, and second of all, is the last thing you do in this camp, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, I will. If you guys are really interested in seeing that sort of thing, like seeing my face, in addition to just look for my face or otherwise in other places on my channel, it's all over the place. But aside from that, if you would be interested in me actually streaming with a camera setup, I would probably want to do it after I get a green screen, just for convenience. What is this? Oh, this is Lenny's. I'll just put it back. I don't want to read Lenny's mail. That's not polite. Hey, Sean, let's rob a stagecoach.
Hey, Sean.
Yeah, what's up, big man?
Not much. What are you doing?
Nothing at all.
I brought... Oh, hello, Arthur.
And what's she doing?
She's doing nothing too.
What exactly are you planning?
Just a little light robbery, Arthur. Nothing a serious fella like yourself needs to worry about.
And you need to get Mary Beth killed as well as yourself?
Away with yourself, Arthur Morgan. We'll be getting rich, not killed.
Besides, Arthur, I'm so bored, I'd rather be shot.
If you insist. I'm in.
We don't want you in. We got this ourselves.
I've seen you fight, little feller. You can kill any
Little
one of
feller.
us, but I ain't letting you take her out robbing, not without an extra gun.
But she'll be acting, not fighting.
Sounds good. Come on then, let's go rob this. What we robbing?
Stagecoach, some fella told me about.
Wonderful. Come on, you can tell me more on the ride. Where we heading?
Back up north. It's coming down from Valentine. I know a great spot to set up an ambush. Just don't start acting like you're the lead on this, like you always do.
Wouldn't dream of it.
This is funny. I think this is another great example of Arthur as the
Come on now, boy.
as the sort of priest figure of the triumvirate. He's the one who takes care of people. He's the one who is responsible for making sure that people are taken care of, that people are safe, that everything comes together, right? And Hosea is the brains. He's the one who thinks. He thinks things through. He makes the plans and he gets things going. And Dutch is the leader. And so once again, we have this great triumvirate going on, and I think this is just a great example of Arthur's role in it.
Give them some sob story.
Yes, of course. Easy enough.
We'll be hiding up above. Once they're unawares, I'll put in a few shots to let them know we mean business. Then move in fast to hold them up. Arthur, I guess you can watch and give us marks out of 10.
Right now, you're at a 1.
Jesus. Can't believe you had to tag along in this just to keep an eye on the girl. Remember the crap you gave me for turning up at that train job with Marston and Charles?
I'm keeping an eye on you, not her. I know she's solid.
Alright, very funny.
Hey, she's probably robbed more folk than both of us put together.
I wouldn't go quite that far.
Mary Beth can pick a pocket faster than you can blink, believe me.
Let's cut up here. It'll be quicker.
First time we laid eyes on her, she was being chased by 3 real angry-looking fellers. And we thought, oh, that poor young girl getting picked on like that. But she had a bag full of wallets and gold watches.
Happy memories, I'm sure. So will you two write about that in your journals? Can we get back to the matter at hand here? My job that I've brought you both in on.
We're ready, Sean.
Yes, keep your hair on.
Alright, just over this ridge, there's a spot that should give us a good view of the road. Let's leave the horses here so they're out of sight. I want a rifle with a scope, if you got one.
Let's get my nice big long-range rifle. My regular rolling block is better than the rare rolling block because I have it modified. Always bring my repeater. So, yeah, that'll work.
Back a bit from the road.
Such a privilege to be instructed by the master himself.
Yeah, though, I know you guys have mentioned, somebody's mentioned, maybe it was WizKid. He's not here yet.
This way.
If he's, wonder if he's gonna come by.
You ain't blind.
Come on, you two.
I've mentioned Arthur and Mary Beth as a, as kind of a potential couple kind of thing. And I never realized that was a that was kind of a thing, that was a ship people sailed before you guys let me know. But I kind of do see it. I get it.
Okay, you're the boss.
Alright, so let's see. Is that a house? I'm curious. Hold on. Oh, that's that old slave catcher's house.
Should be coming from the north any minute.
You're up, Mary Beth.
Well, all right then.
You know what you're doing, right?
I want that
She
gear.
knows what she's doing.
As soon as the shooting starts, get low, and get the hell out of there, okay?
Of course.
Alright, let's see her performance.
Here it comes. I put in a couple of shots to spook them like, and then we'll move in.
Are you sure about that?
Your eyes ain't what they used to be, old fella.
If you say so.
Thank you.
Shit. Hey, what's the trouble here, miss?
Oh, thank God.
What are you
I
doing?
seem to have got myself all spun around out here. My horse ran off, and well, I don't know where I am. You must think I'm such a featherbrain.
Just in case.
What's your name, sir?
Lawrence.
Oh, Lawrence. Would you gentlemen possibly give me a ride to the nearest town?
It's a banking stage, miss. We can't be picking up passengers. Come on, Harry. Nice young girl like that. And I'm sure we can make an exception.
Shut up.
I thought you were just gonna threaten me.
They seem threatened to me.
Oh, I got his hat. Oh, darn, missed him. Nope. Alright, Mary Beth, run away. No, we're good. Okay. I think that's all of them.
So, we're killing them all then?
What, you really think they was just going to give it up? Anyway, we can talk about this later. I'm going to bust in and grab the money.
No, you leave that to me.
Fine, fine. I lighten the pockets of our dearly departed friends here.
Yeah, so that was definitely not the plan. The whole, like, you know, just murder everyone just in case they decide not to surrender kind of thing. Not a good plan. Not a good execution of a... That's actually a bad execution of a bad plan, I would go so far as to say. All right, coach time. Let's see what we got. What's the haul? Oh, invisibility. Cool.
That's a nice take. You did good, Sean. You too, Mary Beth. Ah!
What?
We'll split it up later. We better get out of here.
I like how you swan into this at the last minute and then make off with all the money.
Split up and meet back at camp. Go. We don't have time to hang around.
All right, all right.
I'll see you boys later.
All right, head back to camp. Good share. All right, let's head back to camp, drop off our money, and probably, I guess, finally, we will do the job with Micah. What in the world's that? Oh, no, it was just tree stump. I thought it was a chest or something. Anyway. So, while we're riding around, do we have any leftover conversations or anything from last night? Any hangovers from last week? Anything else that we wanted to discuss in particular, or what do we got? What's our Wait, what is this?
Hey, I'd keep moving if I was you.
Hey, all right. Not looking
What
for
did
trouble
I
here.
tell you? Get
Okay,
the
okay.
hell out of here.
Hey, calm down. You can help us. It ain't like this is going well.
Oh, wait. That's probably why they're
Really?
anxious of me. It's probably the mask with it.
Nothing to lose, I suppose. Come on. The truth is, mister, our last batch of shine didn't turn out so good. You think you can help us with locating some ingredients? We could reward you for your troubles.
Ooh. Let's do it.
Sure, why not?
You know, wild tobacco might give us the rich, earthy flavor we are looking for. Tobacco's got big green leaves and sometimes flowers white.
I think I've got some. Do I? Nah, I gotta find it. All right, well, let's look. Let's look around. Let's see. will say this playthrough, because I've been streaming and talking to you guys, I have not been doing a lot of just materials collecting, hunting, cooking, that kind of stuff. So I'm used to these quests already having whatever it is I need, looking for, in copious amounts. So there should be some right around here, though. If those white flowers are what I think they are, then they'll be all over the place. No, maybe not. Let's keep an eye out. Nope. There's some deer. It doesn't help me. That's tracks. Hey, what the hell? Hey. Badger. Really? Badger bit me. Little bastard. There. Tear your skin off. Little bastard. Wait, what's proportionate? You mean my response to the badger who bit me in the ankle and then I tore his skin off? Because no, not really. I don't think that was very proportionate, but, you know, it's an animal. Who cares? Although I will say that does bring up what I think is an interesting topic in legal theory, which is the issue of proportionality, if that's what you're talking about, or if that's what you're kind of leading into. And even if it isn't what you're leading into, I do think it is a fascinating topic, and I'll gladly talk about it. I have a somewhat unconventional view. Oh, look, coyotes. Howdy. Okay, neat. I do want to hunt that thing. Nice. Perfect pelt. Yeah, so I do think that proportionality as a legal principle is bad. I don't think that it is a proper legal principle. We should not be concerned. Oh, here's some tobacco. Oh man, these coyotes were so nice. They led me right to the tobacco as I shot them. I don't think that proportionality should be at least a primary factor in our considerations when it comes to legal theory, or even in terms of ethics. This is not tobacco. Well, never mind. Anyway, I don't think that proportionality really should be one of our leading concerns when it comes to legal theory. As a legal theory, it is probably in my mind at least, it seems to be the most commonly held error in legal theory. You will be hard-pressed to find a legal theorist who does not hold to proportionality in some form. Now, that isn't to say that we should intentionally be disproportionate. Right? It doesn't mean that we should go out of our way to overkill or whatever the case might be. But I do certainly think that nah, not a good one. How about this one? Also no. I think that being fully restrained by proportionality is a both a problem because it means that there are circumstances in which you are incapable of applying the necessary force to a situation that otherwise ethically merits that response. But then also it permits excessive action in some cases, in a lot of cases. I think a far better standard for proportionality of force, for use of force in general, is minimum necessary force. The minimum force required to achieve a just goal. Right? So a key example of this is if somebody attacks you, right, and they do not attack you with immediately deadly force. Right? If somebody attacks you with fists, right, they try and beat you up, and you are incapable of defending yourself proportionately. You're incapable of defending yourself by hand, in essence, right, or with less than lethal weapons. Right. Currently, most legal systems, including the U.S., at least most states, as far as I know, legal codes in the U.S. Will charge you with assault with a deadly weapon if you attempt to defend yourself disproportionately. In other words, if you're trying to stop the assault, say with a gun, or even with a knife, or whatever the case might be. Right? Ooh, that is a boar. Perfect. Yeah, nice. And I think that is absolutely absurd, right? That should not be the case. I think it certainly should not be the case that... it was right next to the badger, too. Skin the wild boar. I think it's fairly clear that if you are attempting to defend yourself from an aggression, and you use even deadly force in response, if that was what was required to stop the aggression from happening to you, right? If somebody attacks you empty-handed or attacks you with, by beating you with their fists, right? You should, and you're capable of defending yourself with deadly force, then you certainly should not be required to allow yourself to be beaten. If you're capable of stopping it, but by doing so you would use... Hi, dear. Oh, why did I do that? Oops. I'm sorry. I meant to do this. If you're capable of, stopping the attack in any way that you can, right? If you're capable of doing so by means of, say, a gun, right? So if somebody attacks you with their fists and you pull a gun on them, right, that would be assault with a deadly weapon under most U.S. law. I think that is patently absurd because you are being aggressed against. You are the innocent party in your ability to defend yourself. If you are only able to defend yourself because you have a tool, and that tool is a deadly weapon, then I think it's fairly clear, or at least it should be fairly clear, that it is the right thing to do to defend yourself in that way. Where is this stupid Indian tobacco? It's going to drive me nuts. I might just give up on this if I don't find it soon. If you guys are bored with me just wandering around punching random woodland creatures and trying to find tobacco growing out of the ground, let me know and I will wander along. I'll keep on my merry way. Otherwise, I'll keep this up while I keep talking. But I do think that proportionality is, like I said, I think is absolutely the wrong standard to apply. I think minimum required force is the correct standard. Right. Similarly, on the other end, right? If someone is, for instance, assaulting you with a deadly weapon, but suppose they're doing it very incompetently, right? Somebody is, brandishing a firearm and threatening you, but they are drunk, right? And they are not very competent with the firearm, etc. Proportionality would say that you're justified in shooting them. Ooh, that might be it. That might be it over there. Because they are attacking you with deadly force, and so you're justified in responding with deadly force. Right? Proportionality says that is perfectly okay. However, berries, fine, whatever. It's something. Huckleberry, huh? Neat. Right, but on the other hand, if they are assaulting you with a deadly weapon and you are capable of stopping them without killing them, right, and you don't, right, you stop them by killing them, I would say quite clearly that you are, that you murdered them, right? If you were very clearly capable of stopping them without using deadly force, and you choose not to, you choose to use deadly force to stop them, that's clearly you murdered them. In the same way that you murder somebody who attacks you and runs away, right? I think that that proportionality here is a problem in both directions, right? In that sense, it's a problem in the one direction because it prevents you from using necessary force in some cases, but at the same time, it permits excessive force in other cases. So I think it's a problem in both directions. Kevin says the deadly weapon distinction's goofy too. I can theoretically make anything that way. Yeah, anything can be a deadly weapon if used properly. Well, almost anything. Maybe not anything, but close enough to anything, right? Yarrow, right? Eat it. But I do think that yeah, that's a kind of a silly distinction. But again, like proportionate use of force has a similar problem, right? If you're only ever justified in using proportionate response to an attack, then what that means is there are a lot of cases in which you have to allow someone to aggress against you. You're legally required, and maybe if this is an ethical theory, you're ethically required to allow someone to aggress against you because the only way you have of stopping them would qualify as disproportionate. More yarrow. It's irritating. And again, like I said, on the other end, it seems like it would justify clearly unjust responses if it is proportionate, right? Somebody attempts to kill you, but they're doing so very incompetently, and it would be very easy for you to stop them non-lethally. Proportionality says that you're perfectly permitted to kill them right back, even if doing so is unnecessary, right? Even if doing so goes far beyond what you need to do to defend yourself, right? It goes beyond, say, the principle of double effect, right? You're not aiming to kill them, you're aiming to stop them from attacking you, that sort of thing, right? But proportionality means that, well, you're automatically justified in killing them, right? So I think proportionality is usually a decent enough shorthand for ethical considerations, right? Usually it works, right? Most of the time, it would be unjust to immediately escalate to lethal violence just because somebody, tried to pickpocket you or something. I don't know, something else petty. Petty theft or whatever. Another boar. At least I'm getting some wildlife out of this. Kevin says, I've been given a different interpretation of this question from a Catholic ethical perspective. What would that be? Because I think typically the consideration from a strictly Catholic view would be something along the lines of the principle of double effect as applied to self-defense, right? It is necessarily wrong to aim to kill, to intend directly to kill, or even to intend directly to harm is even itself intrinsically wrong. But if you are intending to stop an aggression, then that means that if the means employed are not excessive, then that it is ultimately justified. And I think this really comes down to what means are considered excessive, right? So I think there is a legitimate debate between the consideration of proportionality and the consideration of minimum necessary force. Oink. Oink. Okay. I think either can fit perfectly well into the principle of double effect. It just depends on which one ought to be considered excessive, right? Because again, like I said, I can think of plenty of situations where it would be perfectly reasonable to consider proportionate force excessive. And I can think of also plenty of situations that I can think of where I would consider disproportionate force to be necessary. I can think of plenty of situations for both of those. And because of that, I think that proportionality is at best, like I said, I think is a good shortcut for ethical reasoning, but is not itself, right? It cannot be itself an ethical principle, right? That ought to be applied universally or anything like that. So I do think that something like that, the principle of double effect is a critically important part of self-defense considerations, right? When you're considering self-defense from an ethical or even legal perspective, right? Especially an ethical perspective. But I don't think that, I don't think that proportionality is the right rule to apply. Now I do like I think I've clarified enough, but it won't hurt to clarify more. I think it will most of the time turn out that the minimum required force is something like proportionate. It's either proportionate or less than that. Is this maybe? This looks like more berries though. Yeah, it's more berries. Darn it. Okay. So like I said, I think that most of the time proportionality works. It works accidentally rather than essentially. It works just because that's how things turn out. And so it makes a decent shorthand. But it doesn't work, I don't think, as a solid ethical principle. Is this more yarrow? It's more yarrow. Yeah, it is. Darn. But yeah, Kevin, if you have a challenge to this, I'd be happy to hear it and see what you have to think about this. Because again, I'm not fully committed to this because I do know that I am in ethical thinking, just sort of broadly speaking, historically, I'm way on the there we go, nice. I'm way in the minority on this. Right? It's most people hold that proportionality is an essential consideration when it comes to ethics, particularly pertaining to self-defense. Right. But so again, I would welcome a refutation of this. I'm happy to entertain the opposite, because again, I could be wrong about this. I'm very much open to the possibility of being wrong here. But I do really think that this causes lots and lots of problems, especially things like waiting for a situation to escalate out of at the risk of it becoming out of control, when disproportionate force could be applied to stop an aggression, which would then ultimately wind up meaning that you don't have to employ lethal violence, right? So, for example, if we consider threatening with a deadly weapon to be an escalation from robbery, right? Or even burglary, right? Somebody breaks onto your property and steals things, attempts to steal things, and you threaten them with a firearm, right? The threat with a deadly weapon is an escalation out of proportion, under at least most legal considerations. But if you wait to, you try and stop them through non-lethal means, and then they escalate back, and then it turns into a mutual escalation until it gets to the point of lethal violence being exchanged, then you're probably going to have to kill them. Right?
I'd say you earned it. Appreciate it.
So it's not just that it's a theoretical problem, but it also becomes a practical problem when you when both. I mean, when you wind up, ooh, rum. Yeah, I'll take that. I'm full up on moonshine. Yeah. You know, you become. It can escalate out of control. Basically, is I think the big. I think that's the big practical problem with sticking strictly with proportionality. Kevin says I'm not as well studied on to make a strong counter, and that's fine. I completely understand. In part just because, like I said, I do know a lot about this health experience. Forgot I could do that. And I do think there is a lot to be said because, I mean, a lot of people disagree with me about this. And so naturally, because people are so prone to disagree with me about this, drinking everything I have, because I'm really in the vast minority, in terms of this question. I do think that there are a lot of counter arguments against my point here. Okay, this is interesting. I think I drank too much of everything. That's fascinating. I appear to be drunk. Oh man, very drunk. That's it, though. Okay. I'm drunk, but that's fine. I'm going to sleep it off. But yeah, I do think that, I mean, counters to this would be, first of all, its historical pedigree. Right? This goes back to essentially the beginnings of legal theory, back to the Hammurabi's code and that sort of thing, an eye for an eye. It also, there's the threat of rapid escalation, right? There's also the what would you call it? It's the epistemological problem that it's very difficult to know what force is required, right? So from a practical standpoint, requiring minimum necessary force a lot of the time means that you don't know how much force is required, and so it's hard or impossible to know in the moment how much force you are justified in applying, right? So that's its own problem, right? That's a problem for applied ethics. However, applied ethics is neither my expertise nor, honestly, my concern. I am more a meta-ethicist. I'm more concerned with the fundamental justifications behind ethical theories. What makes the right thing right? What makes the wrong thing wrong? And the application, well, it can be difficult, and I'm just kind of willing to accept that. That's a bullet I can bite in that case. I do think that because of this, because if proportionality is the wrong principle, and if we should employ this this minimum necessary force standard instead, a lot of what that means is that we wind up unsure in a lot of cases how much force we can or ought to use. But I have to say, it's better to be unsure about how much force to use than to have a principle which is fundamentally wrong. And so because your principle is fundamentally wrong, you will, no matter how precise your calculations are, you're going to wind up doing the wrong thing no matter what in that case. And that's obviously worse. Oops. I want let's go with 540. Put it over 1,000. Let's do that. It's not like I have a copious amount of money here or anything. But I think that is that's I think one of my I hope one of my major insights into legal theory that might be a really significant development. Unfortunately, I don't think this isn't actually directly related to a lot of my research, aside from how it applies to the principle of double effect, really. Kevin says, before we get started with Micah, Kevin says, I guess practically if someone larger than me began beating me with fists and I had an opportunity to pull or use a weapon, I would. I'd likely go for a disabling shot or injury. Right, but that's still escalation, right? Maiming is still disproportionate to non-life-threatening injuries, but you're absolutely justified in doing so. Right? I would even say that you would be justified in doing so if someone is merely trying to steal from you. If that is the only way feasible to stop them, then it would be justified, because it's the only way feasible to stop them. Now, if in retrospect you can further consider, well, maybe I could have stopped them in another way, that might mean that you did something wrong, but you're not fully culpable for it because you didn't know in the moment, right? So there's that middle ground where the issue of culpability is separable from the issue of strictly what is the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do. Right? So these are two separate concerns, but they are both real concerns. So I think that's another consideration, right? So any aggression, any attack against you, the minimum necessary force principle, if this is a principle, if I'm correct in this, it could be applied. Right? I mean, the McCloskeys, the couple who defended their home from the rioters by going outside and brandishing firearms, right? The famous guy in the pink polo, it seems, because their weapons were confiscated recently, and I'm not very happy about that. It seems that what they did was presumably illegal. However, if they were restricted, because strictly speaking, they were restricted to proportionate force, and proportionate force to trespass is non-physical deterrence, right? But they threatened the people who were trespassing on their property with lethal violence, and that seems to be an escalation. But at the same time, it's pretty reasonable to say that that was minimum force required to get people off of their property. But then if people started, damaging their property and ultimately threatening their lives, that may have ended in someone being shot, right? It may have escalated to the point of just slight one-upmanship, right? The attackers escalate slightly, and then they escalate their defense in turn to the same amount, right, in proportion. Then the attackers escalate more. They escalate their defense just slightly to match, right, to try and stop it, right? There's a good chance that will get to the point where someone gets killed. Right? So even just from a practical standpoint, that is, there are objectively worse consequences for this. And further, I mean, they were justified in defending what was theirs, right? Ooh, that's pretty. They were justified in defending what was theirs, and we would even say that the means that they chose, while it was a significant escalation, it was a much graver threat of violence, it was still less than it could have been. It still seems to have been the minimum force required to stop the aggression in that situation. And so I think that, I mean, the long story short version of this is that McCloskeys did nothing wrong, and that's aside from her god awful trigger discipline, he did at least nothing wrong. All right, let's talk to Micah.
Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called...
Hey, Molly, where's Dutch?
Well, however it goes.
I'm not sure all that line of thought serves you or me very well.
That's because, Cowpoke, you are a man of profoundly limited intelligence.
No doubt.
Well, you and the old man and Dutch have been running around, digging us ever deeper into shit. Old Mr. Pearson might have gone and lightened the load a little. Pearson! Ain't you curious?
I guess. Gentlemen.
Dutch, you tell him, fat man.
It's peace, Dutch. The O'Driscolls. I mean, I think there's a way.
What on earth are you talking
Oh,
about?
it's this
Get
one.
the words out properly, fat man.
I met a couple of the O'Driscoll boys on the road in the town, and things were about to get ugly. But you know how I am in a fight, huh? Like a corner tiger. Anyway, somehow it didn't, but we got to talking, and they suggested a parlay to end things. Like gentlemen.
Gentlemen, Combe O'Driscoll. Have you lost your minds?
You're always telling us, Dutch, do what has to be done, but don't fight wars ain't worth fighting.
They want a parley? It's a trap.
Well, of course, it's probably a trap, but what do we got to lose finding out?
Get shot.
We ain't getting shot because you'll be protecting us. It's a trap, you shoot a lot of them. If it ain't a trap, that's slim chance.
I don't see the point in any of this.
It's a chance. Gotta take.
I killed Combs' brother. A long time ago. Then he killed a woman I loved dear.
As you say, it's a long time ago, Dutch.
Let's go. You and me, with Arthur protecting us, no one else.
What about me?
This ain't the time for tigers, my friend.
Yeah, I gotta say, Mike is onto something here. He's got a good point. You know, like Dutch is always saying, revenge is a luxury we can't afford.
Mount up, Morgan. Let's go then.
All right, let's do it. On the off chance that it isn't a trap, even though this is... So this is from a... Ultimately, this is a good idea, right? Trying to settle differences in an amicable sort of way, or at least set aside old grievances. As much as I love shooting O'Driscolls.
When it was different. And you're still fighting him now. Make no mistake of that.
Here he goes, Doubting Thomas. Is there any plan you ain't sour on?
Well, maybe you're right. Just nervous. Let's not waste any more lives needlessly.
I ain't costing lives here. I'm saving them. What did you say? We had Pinkertons coming after us?
Because of Blackwater?
And Leviticus Cornwall and his private army. Then, who knows when this local hillbilly thing will come to a head? Can we really afford to be fighting on all these fronts? And O'Driscoll.
There is wisdom in that. I hope so, gentlemen, but like I said, I'm nervous.
Look, you ain't even going to be the one in danger. We'll get on over there, find a nice perch for you to settle into. You got that rifle, don't you?
Yeah.
Then me and Dutch walk right in to the lion's den. With you to cover us,
Okay. Just keep calm, unless I give you a reason not to.
Oh, we'll be fine. We got you.
I will do my best.
Oh, my dear and trusted friend. With you watching over me, I would walk into hell itself.
as would I.
Yeah, this is making me think more and more that Micah is a turncoat, but he's really got the plan coming together here, and we all can predict how this is going to go. In any case, though, I think that ultimately it's probably worth taking the risk just in case we can settle things amicably.
Up there, bend on the ridge.
But at the same time,
From the look of them,
I don't like having eyes on us.
Close.
at the same time, it is an incredibly risky decision. It is practically very dangerous.
I have pushed too hard. Got us into situations that could have been safer. I see all those mouths we gotta feed, and I dream too big. Caring too much. That's my problem.
Caring too much? There's no such thing.
This is horse shit from both of you.
It might be. Micah might be full of shit. Colm O'Driscoll might be full of shit. The promise of this great nation, men created equal, liberty and justice for all, that might be nonsense too, but it's worth trying for. It is worth believing in. Can't you see that, friend?
I don't know.
Try. All I ask is you try.
Man, Dutch really does have the charisma.
All right, cowpoke. You're gonna peel off up ahead. We'll be meeting down on the plain. Find a spot just above us where you can keep an eye on things.
All right. However this shakes out, let's aim to meet back at the fork in the road afterwards.
We'll be there, partner.
All right. Let's get ready for everything to go wrong. I think do I need to go up here? Would have thought. Or no. Here we go. And just in case. That's a good sign. Vultures hanging around where I'm going to stake out is always a good sign, isn't it?
Hello, Dutch. It's been a while.
I love how we can clearly hear it from all the way up there. That's nice.
So, how's your gang doing? They still believing in you?
Very
Better
cinematic.
World. Pure world. How's that coming along?
Just fine.
How's that score you stole off us?
Which one?
Oh, I like that. It's like I said, there's a charismatic leader.
Kevin says, I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious. Yeah, same.
Whole heap of trouble. They offered me a price, Dutch, to bring you in.
Why didn't you take it?
Well, still might.
I am sorry about your brother.
Yeah, well, I never liked him much.
I liked Annabelle.
You always loved the ladies, Dutch Vanderlyn. I like that about you.
What are we doing here? Go home. Is this thing over?
This is definitely suspicious. Would you look at that?
Hello, sugar. You ain't dead, is you? Not anyway. I don't know. Column's got a sense.
Handing him over to the lords. I don't know. Strange times.
They killed Seamus. Fuck the whole lot of them.
With this fella Coleman's right, we can draw them all back.
True. Where?
He's escaping! Shoot him! Relax. Relax. I got him.
Did I kill you?
Oh, not yet.
No, of course not. Not yet. But I will.
Jesus.
Finally. Put his weapons over there.
Arthur Morgan. It's good to see you.
Hello, Cole.
How's the wound?
I hardly feel it. You will.
Septic. Ain't nice. Now, tell me. Fine gun like you. Why are you still running around with old Dutch? Could come right with me and make real money.
It ain't about the money, Cole.
No. It's Dutch's famous car restaurant. You killed a whole bunch of my boys. 6-point gag.
I ain't got no clue what you're talking about.
Oh, you lie, my friend. And I thought Dutch preached truth.
Let me go, Cole. And end all this crap between you two. We all got real problems now.
The way I see it, they get him. They forget about me.
They ain't the forgetting sort. If I were you, I'd run as soon as I had the money.
Oh, I know you would. But see, we lure an angry Dutch in to rescue you. Grab all of you and hand you in. Then disappear.
So you only met with him to grab me?
Of course. He gonna be so mad. He gonna come raging over here. And a whole lot of you. And the law will be waiting for him. Arthur. Arthur, I missed you.
Well, that sure is rough. Arthur cannot catch a break, I tell you. Ow. Erica says, I can't take the situation seriously with Arthur and the Long Johns. Yeah, that's true enough. Except for the whole, like, he's going to blow up his shoulder. Oof.
Shut your hole. I don't want to go to Mexico. I want to go home. Home. Hold on, I'll be back in a minute. What the hell?
Anything to eat in here? That might help.
What's he still doing down there? It's one thing torturing a man, it's another thing putting him through stories of the homeland. You better hurry it up. I don't want to be here when the law comes for that side of beef.
Oh, hey, let's do this. Oh. Okay, fine.
What's going on here? You supposed to be holding Morgan.
Got it. Okay, this isn't good. Okay, I'm so dead. I'm so dead. Okay, let's get my guns. And some food. How about some food? Jewelry. What? What the hell's my gear? My gear. Let's do this. Ah! Alright, alright. There! Alright. Okay, here we go. Good enough. I'm gonna eat some beef. I guess some bear, technically. Oh, damn it. That was fun. Okay, well, I'm just gonna keep going for now. This has gone horribly. Come on. What happened? Okay, this is weird. Let's, okay, here we go. Is it peppermint? Did peppermint come back for me? I think that's peppermint. I'm not sure.
Arthur. Arthur?
Arthur. I told you it was a setup, Dutch. My boy, my dear boy, what? They got me. I got away. Yeah, you did. Miss Grimshaw, I need help. Reverend Swanson. He's gonna set the law on us. Oh, of course he was. I'm sorry, Arthur. It is a bit late for apologies. Swanson! Mr. Morgan, you're safe now.
Oh, let's get him to bed.
You are safe now, Arthur. Okay. I got you. You're safe now.
That's pretty, Dutch. That's real pretty.
Miss Grimshaw, will you sit with him a while?
Of course. You'll be okay, Mr. Morgan. You're home.
A few weeks later.
I thought I'd be burying you, Mr. Morgan.
Well,
That's a hell of a beard.
River.
Good. How you feeling?
Oh, about the same as you.
I'm sorry to hear that.
All right, so what's everybody think? Should I keep the beard?
Take care of yourself.
And should I keep it this incredible? Actually, I think. Oh man, that's pretty nice. That's looking pretty good. Mountain Man Arthur. Yeah. Look at that. It's a quarantine. It's a recovery beard. Yeah. Whatever you guys think. I might. If nothing else, I'm definitely going to cut my hair because that's getting kind of ridiculous. Next time I happen across a barber, I'm definitely going to cut my hair. Where am I supposed to go next? What's up? Yeah, I agree with what Erica said. Definitely cut the hair. Bill's got something in town. Is there a barbershop in town? I don't think there is. That's annoying. The nearest barbershop is what? All the way back in Valentine or something? Yep. All the way back in Valentine. Oh my gosh. Alright, well, I'll do it eventually. For right now, let's go check on Bill. Has something for us in town. So let's check on that. Unless, actually, wait a minute. I have a quick travel option, and I can go to Valentine exclusively for a haircut.
You know, Arthur, it's the illness of romantics. What is hope? Hope is.
Alright. Let's go get a haircut. Let's be dramatic about it. Anyway. Anyway, so any further thoughts on the issue of proportionality, or did I pretty much have that covered? Because I don't know if I may have kind of trailed off on that because I know we started the thing. Yeah, if there is anything on there that anything on that subject that you think I still ought to handle, or if there's any other subjects that I ought to move on to, feel free to let me know. But yeah, I'm not sure if I gave that enough of a sufficient enough treatment there. Let me switch to my proper gun. There. All right. Well, let's go get a haircut. At least his hair flows nicely. No, I really ain't.
Oh, good job. I sharpened up my scissors this morning. Got something in mind?
Yep. Let's go with hair and styles and not that. Let's go with middle parted fade and like that. Yeah, that's good for now. That'll last us a little while.
Looks pretty good.
Yeah. Look almost civilized. All right, now we do have some options. Like that. Yeah, maybe? Nah, probably not. Just run through these really quick. That's always fun. If there's anything that that sticks out as incredible that I absolutely need, then we'll see. Funny thing about that, I actually switched my hairstyle recently to center parted instead of parted towards. What is it? I guess it's left parted because it's towards the right.
Just as important as what's on top.
But yeah, I actually just kind of switched back to that, which I haven't done in quite some time. All right, nah, let's not bother. That's good. That looks fine. Let's go with the massive, absurd mountain man beard. Hair's going under a hat anyway, so it doesn't much matter. But anyway. Yeah, I do think that. I switched it back to a hairstyle I haven't done in a lot of years. Last time I had a middle parted hair was like before I graduated college. But I like to say that it's something like the. For a while, I had it was basically the something like either Jaime Lannister. Like season 1 of Jaime Lannister. What in the hell? This isn't my horse, crap. I'm very sorry. This is my horse. Is it? This isn't even my horse. Where in the world is my horse? Yeah. Who is this? This is just a random horse that happens to be mine. Okay, I need to go stop the witness, because... No, stop. No, stop. Please stop. I don't want... a bounty here. Darn it. I thought... No, sir.
Stop right there, goddammit.
Hey, no need for that.
Sure wasn't ready for that. Out of the damn way. You better not breathe a word to the law.
No, please, let me alone.
You gonna leave this or not?
Okay. I didn't see a thing, I swear.
Okay, that's good, because it was an accident. I swear it was.
Get the hell away from me! Just don't beat on.
Okay, I'm going. Okay, let's leave that alone. That was fun. So let's go trade out for actually one of my actual real horses then, so I don't get the same mix-up again, because that was awful. Whoops. All right, let's see what we got.
Hey, good-looking horse there. I'm all out of space.
Managed-owned horses. Okay, so Waffles, Arthur 2. Wait, where the heck is Peppermint? Oh no. Well, that's awful. What happened to Peppermint? Did those O'Driscoll bastards get rid of Peppermint? Well, Waffles... So here's the thing. I've already have my maximum affection with Waffles. And with Arthur too. So eventually what I'm going to do is get rid of my new random stupid horse here. I'll replace it with somebody else that is not just some random horse. And I'm going to train up Little Debbie for a little while. Because I like Little Debbie. Let's saddle up Little Debbie. Little Debbie. Here we go. Alright, that'll work. I think I am supposed to take your horse back when you're... I think you're supposed to, but I guess it didn't work out right. And something happened. I don't know. A horse happened to find me, and it was not my horse. I'm not super pleased about that. Actually, you know what? Really quick, I'm going to actually go sell that horse so I have room in the stable for another one. The new Tennessee Walker. So I can find a very nice new horse. That will be another probably food name.
That horse doing all right?
This one. Sell. There. F's in the chat for Peppermint, who was probably stolen by the damn O'Driscoll boys. We can hope just stolen, I suppose. I'm going to go over to the train station, get a train to Rhodes. Yeah, like Marshmallow was killed by the darn O'Driscoll boys. But Peppermint, as far as we know, was stolen, I guess? I don't know. Okay, so I really do want to name a horse Beans. Primarily because of that that dumbass video I shared yesterday that I happened across again that I cannot watch without cracking up laughing. Basically dying of asphyxiation because it's hilarious. Of the guy who has his computer fixed, but his computer is full of beans. That is... I sympathize with that poor tech. Like, that poor tech support guy who opens up the guy's computer and there's beans in there. There's beans in there. This is beans. Oh, God. If you have not seen that, you should go and find it, because it is a horrible and hilarious prank. It's totally harmless, except maybe to the computer itself, but it's... Man, the guy is just utterly mystified by the computer being full of beans. This is beans! Oh, gosh. If I had a soundboard, and if I could easily do that, that would definitely be one. This is beans. Yeah, I do need to find a new horse and name it Beans now. Thank you for the suggestion, Kevin. You're absolutely right. Alright, on our way to Rhodes. We're not going to rob the train because we're not allowed to in Rhodes anyway. And I want to do this thing with Bill here. And I think this might be the last thing in this area. I think. It might be. We might have to move on after this. I'm not sure. I think you can mess with the capitalization. But I'm not 100% sure. I'll give it a shot and see what happens. I mean, racehorses always have such bizarre names, like Potatoes.
You're looking real nice today, Bill.
What?
Shut up.
Like Potatoes. The story of Potatoes, which the guy had his stable hand go put the name in for his horse. It's called Pot, and then 8 O's. So Pot, O. Potatoes. Really is the kind of thing for a racehorse.
I'm being genuine, Bill.
All right, so let's see.
Been waiting for you, Arthur.
Well, I'm sorry to have kept you.
Come on, let's get going.
What's the plan?
We're meeting a couple of the Greys over at the saloon. They spoke to Bill about a job, needing security.
After the farce of stealing the horses for them, why are we doing this?
Because we need to stay in with them, and they're paying.
So what kind of security they want?
We're about to find out. Now come on.
Wish I'd taken my guns for this.
Sure,
Darn it.
Dutch said we was to keep on dealing with them until we find this gold.
Can we trust them? Can we trust anyone?
Yeah, let's just see what they say.
They said there was some big misunderstanding about them horses.
And what about boarding their fields?
They don't know we had anything to do with that.
Oh, that's so.
Yeah, they think it was the Braithwaites. Listen, I know these Grey boys a bit now. This is on the level.
We're stuck in the middle of some ancient feud, but instead of playing both sides, we're being used by both of them.
They were saying that Catherine Braithwaite...
Hey, hold up. This don't feel right.
Now it don't feel right. I could have told you.
God damn it. Well. No more Sean. I mean, at least I got a haircut for the fight. There we go. Bye, Sean.
I'll get the front. You take them back. None of these bastards gonna walk out of here.
Between. Oh. Alright, I need to get in. You're right. Alright, here we go. Alright, shut up. I'm working on it. Okay, that's good. Oh, wow. Thanks, Micah.
You see that window and Sean's skull? Don't talk to me about sloppy.
Better in here, not there.
Okay.
You sure about that?
So yeah, thinking the Greys might be onto us after all.
Now it's sinking in. So much for loot. What damn loot? We ain't getting out of this with nothing. That's assuming we even get out of it.
Of course we're getting out of it. This is you and me, Morgan. We always get the job done.
Oh,
You
damn.
call this getting the job done?
There we go.
See Bill anywhere?
No.
Shit. This is some damn posse the Greys rounded up.
We'd have had to deal with these sons of bitches sooner or later. Just turned out to be sooner. See that?
Oh, Jesus. Went out like he lived with his mouth flipping. Yeah, definitely.
And what about Bill? Where the hell's he?
We'll find him later. Come on.
Rifle cartridge, is it? Darn it. Come on. I need some ammo. Oh, I have all... Oh, jeez. All right, I'm full up on regular cartridges. I'm not full up on crosshatch card. Whatever these are, split points. That's it.
We put down far worse than you, 100 times over. This is the Gray's town. Always has been, always will be.
Unfortunately, not anymore.
Only Grays I see left around here is you.
I also kind of like the Grays.
We'll come out. Bill, guns on the ground now. Both of you.
That about figures.
We can't do that. You put the gun down, Sheriff. I'll blow his brains out.
You want to join your little friend there, do you?
Either way, you're a dead man. Morgan? Shit.
All right.
He was a good kid.
Well, how the hell was I to know?
Let me see. They set us up once before. They didn't like us. We destroyed their farm. Should I go on?
Go easy on him, Morgan. He was out trying to find a lead. Same as you, same as Hosea. All you do is complain when things don't work out. Except when it's your goddamn fault.
You don't know what you're talking about. You don't give a damn about nobody but yourself.
Oh, you act so high and mighty, but you're no better than the rest of us. I've ridden with you boys close on what, 6 months now? And all you ever done was complain. You can fight, but you can't think.
You can't do either.
Okay, cowpoke.
Bill, take the boy's body. Bury him proper someplace quiet. Micah, best you and I don't speak for a moment.
I'm just so frightened by you.
Get out of my sight.
God damn, I want to shoot that man. Well, I was right about things escalating out of control.
Brother to me. What fun we had riding together. What a goddamn mess we're making of things.
Yeah, no kidding. Well.
All right, girl.
Is it seriously still giving me tooltips on how to rob a train after all that? This is ridiculous. Actually, hold on. Let me start doing some crafting. Need some ammo. Ooh, wait a minute. Explosive. Let's do some exploding rifle cartridges. That sounds like a good time. There we go. And let's fill up on these. Anyway. So like I've been saying, this is this is really where everything goes horrifyingly wrong.
These days ain't short.
Because I mean, we had the chance here, like I kept saying, like I've said for the last few streams. We had it in fairly good with the Grays, but we had to try playing both sides, and of course it didn't work because they're not complete idiots. And like Bill was saying, we're getting played by both sides instead of playing both sides, because of course we did. We wandered into town expecting to start running the place. In part, like I said, because Dutch is has this holier than thou attitude when it comes to these backwoods country folk like this. Oh, wait a minute.
Stay back from the wagon, sir. Transporting some lawbreakers. Hey, you there. Get us out of here. Help us, please. Yeah. You were set up, honest.
Okay, I believe you.
Hey, do we look like bad people? To the prisoners. How's it feel?
show.
Got my hat, bastard. See, this is the thing with how incredibly OP the lasso is.
Damn you! Can't you see I'm the goddamn law?
Just, I mean, this won't help at this point, but I'm gonna go ahead and free him now. And take their hat, which is a nice hat. Oh shit, law searching. Okay, I really better hurry.
Hurry the line before any more show up, please.
Alright, ready, 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 and bam. Alright, let's get on out of here. Alright, let's get out of here. Keep his hat and run. I mean, I had to, I definitely had to do a little bit of shooting, because, you know, there were the two prisoners who were unarmed there, so, you know, they need a little more help. Let's get the hell out. Wait, did I just get a rabbit kill? I ran over a rabbit, didn't I? Whoops. I guess that counts towards an achievement, so that's kind of cool. Alright, once the law is done searching, I'm going to continue crafting like I was trying to do. Anyway, so that was an interesting one. Uh-oh, whoa, whoa, no, let's not. Ah, great, now I have a bounty. Should have known. Well, okay, gotta go down here. Right through all the lawmen. I can probably get around them, right? Alright, let's keep moving. Anyway, let's go pay off the bounty. Still have my mask on? I do, right? Honestly, I should leave it on for this, but it's fine. Oh, right, because I just murdered the whole town. I probably can't go do this, but I'm gonna try anyway. Let's just,
No wonder.
I can't, can I? Darn it. Okay. Okay, this was a bad idea. All of this was a mistake. Let's get out. Okay, let's go. Okay, I'm getting out of here. This was a bad idea. Okay, let's head up to Emerald Ranch, because I definitely do need to pay off my bounty before I actually continue doing this. That's where I need to go. Oh my gosh, this is too far. Alright, let's go. Anyway. Well, this whole thing was a mess. It's alright. I freed some presumably falsely accused men from their paddy wagon. was trying to pay a bounty, and then everyone started shooting at me. It ain't my fault. I was trying to do right by society.
Alright, girl. Good girl.
Anyway, let's keep moving on. Are they still chasing me? Alright, no, they're going the wrong way. It's fine.
Easy, girl.
Anyway, let's keep moving. I should have realized that having killed basically the entire town, that this would be... that this would not work properly, but whatever. I do like this hat, though. It's a nice... looks like a Stetson. Anyway, let's keep moving on. Oh my god, I'm nowhere close to being out of Lemoyne. I'm just gonna cut a corner. I'm not sure if we're gonna really have time to do much of the next quest, because I believe, unless I'm horribly mistaken, the next quest is quite a long one, so we might only have time to run up here, pay our bounty, wander around for a little bit, and maybe do a, if there's a side quest or something up here, maybe some exploration we can do. That might be about all. Oh, come on. There we go. But yeah, that might be about all we have time for tonight. But anyway, so if you guys do have any other thoughts, any other concerns, any other issues, we were talking about Kevin. What was it you said something about minimum necessary force, that you like that as a principle? I honestly do think that. So going back to that topic, I do think that is probably the most straightforward way of determining what is the just defense against an aggression. Now, I think the only some of the potential problems with this, even from on my own view, would be that this is more. What is this? Oh, okay, let's just move on. Some potential issues with this is that it may wind up justifying things that are not simply aggression. Right? I mean, justify stopping things that are not really aggression. If you're not careful to delineate what you're talking about here, and if that is your only principle in effect, right? Now, because in a lot of cases, the retaliation against or the stopping of aggression as the principle behind self-defense, in part that is that's in large part at least what's behind the things like non-aggression, right? Things like the non-aggression principle, the idea of responding to aggressive force with violence. A lot of that is based simply on responding in kind or responding proportionately to violent aggression. And just need enough money to pay off my bounty. There. It's good and then some. Anyway. But yeah, I do think that is a potential concern, but I think, of course, you can deal with it, right? So you can deal with the issue of what kinds of things are justified in responding aggressively. Primarily, I mean, it comes down to being justified in stopping an aggression against one's person, and that has more to do with legal standing, or I guess, retaliatory standing more generally, than it has specifically to do with proportionality. And I think that trying to justify self-defense in terms of proportionality, right? You can only defend yourself if you are, if you can only defend yourself violently if somebody acts violently against you is sort of the standard line. But I think there's a better way of considering that, which is that you can only defend yourself violently if you have standing to retaliate against the action, or if you have standing to stop the action being that is somebody is attempting to do to you, right? So something like that, I would say that that'd be a case of, right. So if you're capable of not if you're capable of, if you're being aggressed against, right? If somebody is attacking you, then you automatically sort of have legal standing to stop it. But if somebody is attacking somebody else, right, you are not in a position to stop that from happening unless you have reason to believe that the victim of it would request your help, or if they have explicitly requested your help. So, helping an innocent bystander who is being attacked is generally justified on the basis of the fair assumption that they would request your help if they could. Right? And, of course, if you help somebody and they tell you to stop helping them, then continuing to help them against their protests would be wrong, right? You'd be acting against the person's wishes that you're trying to help. Right? And the same would apply for just about anything. Hey, guess what? I'm going to shoot a bunch of O'Driscolls because these bastards, well, we know.
You get out of here or you'll get bushwhacked.
No. I'm going to grab my automatic shotgun. Oh, they shot me. Bastards. Okay, well, I should have known better. Oh well, it was fun. Anyway, let's move on. I should have known better than to just kind of wander up into the camp like that. My bad. This is what happens when you try and retaliate without thinking about it. Alright, where's my horse? There you are. Aw, I lost my fancy new stolen hat. Oh. There it is. Cool. Good enough. Let's keep moving. Anyway, I do think that I think that you can use something like legal standing to restrain one's efforts to self-defense, right? To self-defense and defending another as a proxy for self-defense. So again, like I said, if somebody requests your help, you can illicitly help them. But if somebody tells you not to help them, and you do continue to try to help them, then you're effectively acting against their wishes. You're effectively aggressing against them, in a sense. Right? And you can think of a mundane example of this, like if somebody is in a mutually voluntary combat, right? Whether that means like a sporting boxing match, or something like somebody gets in a fight and everybody involved knows that this is a fight between two people to settle a dispute or something like that kind of thing. Right? If that is the case, and then you interfere and they say, hey, stay out of this is our beef, right? And then you don't stay out of it, it seems reasonable for them to punch you back, right? For both of the people involved to punch you back, because you're intruding on what is not your business. And again, I think that applies more broadly, and I think that is the route that you would have to take on an ethical system that rejects proportionality. That's the route you'd have to take in order to justify something like non-aggression, right? Something like the principle that violence can only be used in response to violence, or to stop violence. Non-aggression, you can also construe that as something like mutual inviolability, right? If you really want to put it and kind of push the terminology to its limit, you can say something like individual sovereignty, which that's a little bit, that probably describes more than we want it to, but it's an adequate description as long as we're clear that what we're talking about in terms of sovereignty meaning inviolability, like the individual being the the center and the holder of legal rights or something like that. All right. So what else we got? Anything else we want to talk about in the last couple of minutes? Because I think I'm gonna chat with this guy, see what's up with him. Oh.
You gotta help me out here.
Okay.
Come on, please. I'm about done here. If I don't get these shackles off soon, I'm a goner. Please.
All right, let's do it.
There you go.
Oh, thank God. Oh, well, I've waited to hear that noise for so long.
Yeah, I bet.
I wish I could give you some money, or, well, you know, I might have something of interest. A fellow on the chain line jawed on about this little homestead owned by some lonely drunk. Yeah, he keeps a lot of money stacked away. Dead south of Rhodes, on the river.
You sure I'm the right person for this sort of information?
I ain't saying nothing. Do with it what you will.
Huh. Well then, I think that's down here somewhere. I think that is a good place to start next time. Was it this? No, that's the church. It's down here, I think. No. I think it's that one. We'll try it. We'll start with that next time. For now, our nice home robbery tip. For now, if you guys have anything else that you would like to add on what we're doing, then feel free. I got a couple of minutes. I'm gonna just ride at a nice little trot here. Oh, and I do have some crafting. Let's do that while we wait. Let's do that. Anyway, so while we do this, if there's anything else you guys have to add, anything else you guys have to ask, anything else you guys wanted to talk about in the last few minutes, then feel free to bring it out. Otherwise, like I have said before, next week we are going to be moving on to Mass Effect 2. So that'll be a lot of fun. It's a big gameplay change, a big stylistic change from Mass Effect 1. So if you prefer Mass Effect 2, if you're familiar with the series and you haven't been watching that series, now is a great time to jump into it. You are, of course, welcome to rewatch the previous episodes. That said, there are 13 of them, and they're 3 hours long each. So if you start now, you'll be done by the next stream. Less if you watch it on increased speed, if you wanted to do that. But otherwise, if you do want to just jump in, now is as good a time as ever, starting next week. So you're welcome to do so. Otherwise, next week we are also on Thursday. Plan is to continue on in Red Dead Redemption 2. Wrap up what we got here, and I believe if the plot is where I think the plot is, it is one of the most epic and cinematic moments in this game. If you're familiar with the game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It is the Braithwaite Manor part. It should be spectacular. So definitely look forward to that. We'll see that probably next week, unless I'm horribly mistaken. And thank you all if you have been here and if you have donated for the DLC for Mass Effect 2. I will be getting all of that and having it all prepped and installed for next week. So yeah, that'll be the plan. Once we're done crafting here, I think I'm going to save and quit and call it an evening. Good night, everybody, and thanks for hanging out. It's been good. It's been a good stream. It's been a lot of fun. We got Arthur had the crap beaten out of him, but we got to chat about some interesting stuff. So, with that, I will say goodnight as we continue on along here. So, I hope to see you all next week. Oh, also, keep an eye out for another video or two coming soon. I've got one in the pipeline about Socrates and about the art of trolling. That'll be a lot of fun once that is out. I also have a few more planned that I need to do some still record, but I do have more coming. If you have topics that you'd like me to cover, either in a live stream or in a video lecture, please let me know. Also, if anyone is interested, I will eventually, this is pending the library purchase of an ebook, I will be starting the next reading group on William Cavanaugh's The Myth of Religious Violence soon. I don't know exactly how soon, but that'll be the next book. If you are interested in reading that along and watching that along with us, that will be coming soon. Otherwise, if you liked the format of the last one, please let me know. If you'd like to see changes in the format done differently, maybe something more interactive in terms of even the video, also let me know. I'm completely open to changing that up a bit. So just let me know what you guys think, and I guess with that, I think that is all I have to say as far as announcements go. So I will say good night to everybody, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.